The ship landed with a soft hiss. Captain Ilara Voss stood at the airlock door, eyes sharp, shoulders square. Her uniform was spotless, dark gray with a silver Earth emblem on the chest. This was Earth's first formal mission to the Galactic Council. She was its voice now, and she was alone. Outside the window, Ereval Prime shimmered. Floating towers hung in the sky like crystal blades. The ground pulsed with soft light. Clouds moved slowly, unnaturally, glowing with hints of green and violet. It was beautiful and cold. As the doors opened, Ilara stepped out and was greeted by silence. A tall alien with smooth purple skin and no mouth approached. He wore silver robes and carried a small black device. "I am Speaker Knoll," the device translated. "Follow." No welcome, no handshake, just instructions. Ilara followed Speaker Knoll through a floating corridor made of glass. Below her, she saw rivers of light and strange beasts gliding through the air. She had studied Ereval Prime's wonders, but now they felt distant, like decorations on a locked door. They reached the Council's diplomatic tower. It rose higher than anything she had ever seen. At its peak, artificial stars glowed beneath a transparent dome. This was where decisions that shaped galaxies were made. Null led her into a small chamber. "You will wait here," he said. "You will be called." Ilara nodded. "Where is Envoy Rin?" There was a pause. "Envoy Rin has been removed." "Removed? What does that mean?" Speaker Null said nothing more. He placed a folded paper on the table, bowed slightly, and left. Ilara opened it. A single sentence was written in bold, black ink. "Your co-envoy has been executed. Do not ask why." Her heart went still. She read the sentence again. It didn't change. A chill settled over her skin. Her hands trembled, but only slightly. She took a deep breath and sat down, forcing her mind to focus. This wasn't just a failed mission. It was a trap. She was alone now, in the heart of the galaxy's most powerful council, and something was very wrong. Outside the window, the sky suddenly dimmed. The artificial stars flickered, one by one. It wasn't night. It wasn't natural. It felt like a warning. She whispered to herself, "They planned this." She had come to bring peace. Now she might have to fight for Earth's survival. Ilara stood at the center of the council chamber. The floor beneath her was made of smooth black stone that shimmered like water. Around her, towering seats rose in a wide circle, each one holding a representative from a different world. Some were tall and insect-like. Others had glowing eyes or wings. The air felt heavy with judgment. She tried to stay calm. She had prepared for this speech for months. But now, everything had changed. Her co-envoy was dead, executed, and no one seemed to care. A low tone rang through the chamber. The High Chancellor had arrived. He moved to the tallest seat, high above the others. His long dark robes dragged behind him. His skin was pale silver, and his eyes were sharp like glass. This was Virex, the most powerful voice in the galaxy. Ilara Voss of Earth, his voice echoed. "You may speak." Ilara stepped forward. "Honored Council, I come in peace. Earth wishes to join the Galactic Alliance. We offer science, cooperation, and friendship. We have changed from our past. We seek a future among the stars." Virex raised a hand. "Enough." The chamber fell silent. "There has been a change," he said. "Before this meeting began, Earth broke our trust." He motioned to a large screen behind him. Images appeared, blurry, dark. A space station exploding in a flash of fire. Alien ships fleeing. A transmission followed, showing a human fighter jet marked with Earth's flag. This, Virex said, was an unprovoked attack on a council outpost. 6 lives lost. Earth is responsible. Gasps filled the room. Ilara stepped back in shock. "That's not possible," she said. "We've sent no ships beyond our solar system. None capable of this." Virex looked at her coldly. The footage does not lie. Ilara stared at the screen. Something felt off. The angle, the timing, even the markings. Too perfect, too clean. But how could she prove it? "We request time to investigate," she said. "This must be a mistake." "There is no time," Virex replied. "The Council will vote tomorrow. If the majority agrees, we will treat Earth as a hostile force." Ilara's blood ran cold. "You're declaring war," she said. "Not yet," he said. "But we must act before Earth spreads its violence further." The screen faded. Virex stood. "The session is over." Ilara tried to speak again, but her voice was lost in the noise of rising chairs and turning backs. One by one, the council members left. No one looked at her, not even once. She reached for her communicator. "This is Captain Voss to Earth Command. Do you copy?" Only static answered. She tried again. "Command, please respond." Nothing. She was cut off. The guards at the doors stepped forward. One of them spoke, his voice filtered through a translator. "Your clearance has been revoked. You must remain in your assigned quarters." "I have rights under the Galactic Accord," Ilara said. The guard did not move. Ilara turned away, heart racing. She had no co-envoy, no allies, no contact with Earth, and now no freedom to move. The trap was closing. And tomorrow, the galaxy might vote to destroy her home. Ilara sat alone in her room. The walls were smooth and silver, the lights soft and silent. There were no windows, no clocks, no way to tell time. She had not slept. She could not. Every second, her thoughts raced. Her co-envoy had been executed. Earth was accused of an attack it didn't commit. The Council would vote for war tomorrow, and she was locked in this room, cut off from everything. A quiet knock broke the silence. She stood quickly, alert. The door slid open just a little, and a thin figure slipped inside. He was not a guard, not a soldier. He was young, by human standards, with gray-blue skin and narrow eyes. He wore a council assistant's robe and carried a small bag. "Who are you?" Ilara asked, cautious. The alien raised his hands. "My name is Tyron," he said in a quiet voice. "I'm a junior records keeper. I work in the council archives." Ilara narrowed her eyes. "Why are you here?" "I know the footage was fake," he said simply. Ilara's breath caught. She stepped closer. "What do you mean?" "I handle backup data logs," he said. "I noticed strange time codes, glitches. Someone edited the original recordings. What they showed the council was a forgery." Ilara stared at him. Was he telling the truth, or was this another trick? "Why would you risk coming to me?" she asked. Tyron lowered his eyes. "Because not all of us hate humans. Some of us believe truth still matters." Ilara studied him for a long moment, then nodded. "All right. Can you prove it?" "Yes," he said, "but not from here. The evidence is in the lower archives. It's restricted. Only a few have access, but I can get us in." Ilara nodded again. "Then we go now." Tyron looked at the door. "You're being watched. We'll have to move quietly." He pulled a small device from his bag and pressed it to the wall. The lights flickered. The door slid open. They slipped into the hallway. The corridors of the tower were empty, cold, and endless. Smooth silver floors, tall, arching ceilings. Strange blue lights floated above them like silent eyes. Tyron led her through back passages and narrow stairwells. Ilara stayed close. Every sound made her tense. Every corner could hold a guard. Finally, they'd reached a sealed door at the base of the tower. Tyron placed his hand on the panel. It scanned him and clicked open. Inside was a dark room filled with glowing glass screens. Rows of machines hummed quietly. This was the archive. "This is where they store the real footage," Tyron said. "Not what the council shows. The original, untouched data." He tapped on a screen and entered a code. A video began to play. It was the same station, the same explosion. But there was no human ship, no Earth markings. Nothing at all. They added the fighter later, Tyron said. Look at the time logs. Someone spliced it in. Ilara stared at the screen. Her chest tightened. They faked it, she whispered. They killed my envoy, framed Earth, and now they want war. She looked at Tyron. Who did this? Tyron hesitated. The files were altered by someone using High Chancellor Virex's clearance code. Ilara stepped back. Virex. He planned this. She turned toward the door. Suddenly, an alarm blared. Red lights flashed. They found us, Tyron said. Run. They dashed into the hall as guards shouted from above. Ilara grabbed a steel rod from the wall and knocked one guard back. Tyron led her through another hallway, then into a maintenance shaft. They crawled through the narrow tunnel, heartbeats loud in the dark. After what felt like forever, they emerged into a quiet service room. The alarms had stopped. They were safe. For now. Tyron leaned against the wall, breathing hard. You could have run, Ilara said. You didn't have to help me. Tyron looked up. I believe your world deserves a voice. Ilara nodded. Then let's make sure it's heard. Tomorrow, she would bring the truth to the council, even if it cost her life. Ilara stood over Tyron as he wrapped a cloth around his arm. He had scraped it during their escape. The small room they hid in was dark and dusty. An old maintenance storage tucked away beneath the council tower. It smelled like rust and machine oil. They were safe for now, but they had little time. Ilara paced. Her mind worked fast. We have the real footage, she said. We show it to the council. We stop the vote. Tyron shook his head. They won't accept it without proof it came from their own system. They'll say we faked it. Then we need to show them the source. There's only one way, he said. The council's core archive. Deep level. It stores the master records. The system can't be altered or erased from there. Ilara nodded. Then that's where we go. Tyron looked unsure. It's heavily guarded. And if we're caught? Ilara interrupted him. We go anyway. They waited until the tower quieted. The council rested during the second moon cycle. Ilara and Tyron moved fast through hidden passages, using Tyron's access codes and a stolen security badge. Soon, they reached a heavy steel door. A glowing blue panel waited for a hand scan and code input. Tyron stepped forward, his hand shaking slightly. He scanned in. The door slid open. Inside, the core archive was silent and vast. Towering shelves of data crystals and glowing terminals filled the room. Light pulsed along the walls like a heartbeat. Tyron moved to the central console and inserted a small disk. It began copying the original footage, the untouched video from the supposed attack. Ilara kept watch near the door. Her fingers gripped a metal tool like a weapon. Suddenly, the lights dimmed. Footsteps echoed. 4 guards entered from a side hall. They moved quickly and silently. There, one shouted. Ilara didn't wait. She charged forward, slamming the metal bar into the first guard's arm. He dropped his weapon. She ducked a strike and kicked another in the knee. Tyron pulled the disc free and shouted, I have it. Run, Ilara yelled. They sprinted through the rows, dodging blasts of light and sparks from fired stun weapons. A blast hit the wall near Ilara's head. She pushed Tyron forward. This way. They leaped through a side hatch and into a narrow tunnel that led up toward the council floor. It was old and barely used, but Tyron had studied every map. They crawled through it in silence, breathing hard. At the top, a grate led into a small chamber behind the council hall. They could hear voices beyond the wall. The final vote was about to begin. Ilara turned to Tyron. You don't have to come in, she said. I know, he replied, but I will. They stepped out of the tunnel and into the chamber. The council members turned in shock. Guards moved forward. "Stop," Ilara shouted. "I have evidence." Virex stood at the top of the chamber, calm and unshaken. "You are not permitted here." Ilara raised the disc high. "This shows the truth. The human ship in the footage was added by someone using your personal code. The attack was staged." Gasps filled the room. Murmurs spread. Ilara stepped into the center, eyes locked on Virex. "You murdered an envoy. You lied to the council. You nearly started a war." Tyron moved to the nearest console and inserted the disc. The real footage played on the main screen. The outpost exploded, but there was no human ship, no Earth weapon, nothing but silence and debris. Then the editing file appeared, layers, timestamps, and the log entry. Edited by Virex. Secure KEY-1A. The chamber fell silent. Virex said nothing. He didn't even blink. One by one, the council members turned their eyes on him. Ilara took a deep breath. "We didn't come here to fight, but we will not be destroyed by lies." Outside, the artificial sky above Erevel began to flicker again. But this time, it wasn't a warning. It was something worse. The council chamber was silent. The video ended. On the giant screen, the last frame still showed the fake Earth fighter. Its data logs now exposed, layered over the real footage. The truth was undeniable. The attack had been faked. The human envoy had been framed. And the order came from one man, High Chancellor Virex. All eyes turned to him. But Virex did not flinch. He stood tall at the highest seat in the chamber, his silver robe hanging like a curtain of cold steel. "This is a misunderstanding," he said calmly. "A digital error. An unfortunate mistake." Ilara stepped forward, her voice firm. "No, it was no error. You used your authority to fake an attack. You murdered my co-envoy and blamed Earth to start a war." Virex looked down at her with narrow eyes. "Earth is a threat. You build weapons. You poison your planet. You fight each other for power. If we wait, your kind will infect the stars." Tyron moved beside Ilara. "Even if that were true," he said quietly, "you don't get to decide their fate with lies." A soft buzz filled the chamber. The council was waking up, angry, confused, uncertain. Some delegates stood, others whispered. Some shouted demands for a vote. One shouted for Virex's arrest. Suddenly, the lights dimmed. The artificial sky above the chamber flickered and turned completely black. Then, through the glass dome, ships began to appear. Dozens, hundreds, silent, sharp, and dark like blades in the sky. Ilara stared upward. "What is that?" Tyron stepped to the control console. His hands moved quickly. A message appeared on the screen. It was a secure transmission from Virex's fleet. "Orders confirmed. Stand by for strike." "They're moving on Earth," Tyron said. "The fleet is in place. The strike is already set." Ilara's heart pounded. Even after the truth, he's still going through with it. Virex raised one hand to the council. "It's too late. Earth cannot be trusted. You've seen what they are. They'll never change." "No," Ilara said, stepping forward. "You're wrong." She turned to the council. "We made mistakes. Yes, we fought. We harmed our planet. But we've learned. We're trying to build something better. That's why I'm here." She looked around the room. Her voice rose. "We didn't come with warships. We came with open hands. We didn't fire first. You did. But still, I'm standing here, asking you to listen. Because peace only works if someone is brave enough to trust first." The room was quiet. Ilara pointed to the screen. "Virex betrayed you all. Not just Earth. If you let him do this, no world is safe. Today it's Earth. Tomorrow it's someone else." A long pause. Then a voice from the side spoke, an elder council member from a forest-covered planet. "I vote no," she said. No war. Another voice followed, then another. More stood, more joined. The vote was shifting. Virex's power was slipping. He shouted, "You'll regret this. They will burn your skies." A guard moved toward him. Virex raised his arm, but it was too late. His security codes were revoked. His commands were locked out. The war fleet stood still, frozen in the dark sky. The guards took Virex by the arms. His face was stone. Tyron let out a long breath. Ilara lowered her head for a moment, steadying herself. The council had chosen truth. The war was stopped, but Earth's future was still uncertain. The chamber was quiet as Virex was taken away. His steps echoed across the smooth stone floor. No one spoke. No one stopped the guards. His power was gone. Ilara stood at the center of the room, still breathing hard. She felt the weight of everything: fear, anger, relief, but she did not let it show. Earth had been saved from destruction, but the scars of what had nearly happened still hung heavy in the air. Council leader Arjun, a tall being with golden skin and deep black eyes, stepped forward. He looked at Ilara with a serious gaze. "You have shown courage," he said, "and truth. That matters here." Ilara nodded. "Thank you." But he added, "The council is not yet ready to welcome Earth." She expected it. Still, hearing the word stung. "Why?" she asked. "Because trust takes time," Arjun said. "Virex used fear to control many minds. It will not vanish overnight. We need to watch your world. See how you move forward, not with weapons, but with wisdom." Ilara took a breath and nodded. "Understood." Arjun raised a hand, motioning for silence. "Earth will not be destroyed. No strike will come. We will send observers, and if your people continue to walk a peaceful path, we will reconsider their place among the stars." The council gave a respectful bow. Ilara returned it. Later, as the sun-like lights of Ereval Prime rose again, Ilara and Terran stood near the edge of a viewing platform. Below them, the towers shimmered with life. Above them, the warships that once aimed at Earth were pulling back, returning to their hangars. Tyron was quiet. His bandaged arm rested at his side. "You didn't have to help me," Ilara said. "I did," he answered, "because I believe you." She looked at the sky. "There's still so much work to do." He nodded. "But you've made the first step." A message came through her small wrist device, a signal from Earth, her first clear one in days. "Captain Voss, you did it. We're receiving word. Stand by for return." Ilara smiled. Tyron turned to her. "What will you say to them when you get back?" She looked out over Ereval Prime, then up into the stars. "I'll tell them the truth," she said, "that the galaxy is beautiful and dangerous, that peace is fragile, and that we still have a chance, if we choose it." She turned to go. Behind her, the sky slowly brightened. The shadows were lifting.